Hi Cancer, welcome to your January 2020 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, if you're watching this when I first posted, I'm actually not going to be offering readings for the rest of the month of December. But when we actually get into the month of January, I will be offering them again. So if you're interested in that, just check out the description of the video for more info on that. And as far as what we have in front of us, we have a Celtic cross spread as always. Got a couple extra cards there. We have a couple of oracle cards that we'll take a look at after we get to the main spread, and a Mudra card. So let's get started. In the position of the main situation, we have Two of Wands. So this is actually an Aries energy. It represents the first 10 degrees of Aries. And as far as what's been going on there lately, Chiron started to move direct in that house and in those degrees. So, but what I'm really picking up on primarily with this is, and partially because it is regarding your 10th house, Aries being your 10th house, for some of you, you guys could be looking to change careers. Maybe even just exploring it at the very least. Maybe you're on the fence about it, but maybe you decide, well, maybe I should put my resume out there and see whatever options I have, right? So maybe you're not completely fulfilled in your current job situation. So as opposed to this pointing to you definitely making a move, this could at least be you looking to see what's out there. And the reason I say that, I think about the fact that he's holding that globe, and it makes me think of you, just as simple as going on the internet and looking at what kind of jobs are available in your area, right? And this could even be saying that maybe you find something that would actually seem like a good fit for you, but it might be at a distance. So maybe that's where the difficulty comes at play. And the reason I say that could be the case is because in the challenger obstacle position, you have the Page of Wands. So to me, when I see the Page of Wands, I think about travel more than anything. So that could be why this is showing up in the challenge position for you guys, which is to say that, okay, maybe you do find something that you think would be a really good fit for you, but it could just be a long distance away. So you might realize, all right, well, if I do this, I have to move, so there could be a lot of extra layers to it. And so that could be your hesitation. Or this could even just be saying that, this could be saying that you should explore your options, but the challenger obstacle is you need to actually be the one to take that action, as opposed to having something come to you. In the foundation position, we have the Six of Wands in reverse. So this is actually a Leo card. I'll put in the upright while we talk about it. Represents the middle 10 degrees of Leo. So for some of you, this could just be saying that maybe you're lacking the confidence to make that move. Maybe you feel, maybe that Page of Wands is saying that you feel like you don't have enough experience to get a job elsewhere. It could be one of those situations where you realize, all right, I do want to maybe take that next step, but I don't have enough experience. Maybe looking at the resumes, right, or the job postings, rather, and looking at the requirements. And you know how that goes sometimes, and it's like an ongoing joke where people say you need, 20 years of experience for a job and it's entry level. Like, okay, well, how am I going to get that experience if all of these entry level jobs require all that experience ahead of time, right? So it could be one of those situations where you feel like you're lacking confidence, or maybe even feel like you lack support, like maybe people wouldn't approve. For example, if you say to your friends or your family, hey, I got this amazing job, but, it's 8 hours away, so I have to move, right? Maybe you feel like, oh, no one's going to support you because they want to keep you around, And given that Leo energy is your second house, too, this could even just be saying this as simple as saying you see this great job opportunity, but you feel like you just don't even have the financial wherewithal to make the move, Like, all right, I don't even know if I can get the money together to go out there for an interview, right? Let alone move out there. So that could be what's at play for some of you. But yeah, for a lot of you, I feel like this is probably more something in your mind where, you don't feel, you might just not feel confident enough and feel experienced enough to make the move forward. That could be primarily what's at play there. All right, in the past position, we have the Emperor and the King of Cups. So, for some of you, well, let me first say this is the Major Arcana card for Aries, and then this is actually a court card for Scorpio. And if we look at this a few different ways, this could just be pointing at the fact that pretty much, by the time we roll into January officially, Mars is going to move into Sagittarius pretty early on. But basically, since around mid-November or so, Mars, which is the ruler of Aries, has been in Scorpio. So that could be what this is pointing to. And maybe with that, maybe it's actually been helping you get some confidence in some way, or maybe you've been getting some creative ideas on how to switch things up, but it's just been a matter of you actually making the move. That could be what's at play there if this is representing more of a person. And especially given that the Two of Wands is looking right in that direction, this could just be saying that this is your ultimate goal, that you do want to have a leadership position in your, in your work life. And maybe you're realizing, all right, well, currently I can't really secure that because I don't have the experience, right? So that could be what's at play there. But for some of you, this could just be saying that maybe you're already in a workplace where you have a boss that you feel comes across this way. They're very controlling, they're very my way or the highway, right? And maybe even you might feel that they're a bit secretive as well. So maybe there's not like a trusting connection between the two energies. That could be what's at play there. And in the present position, we have the Four of Cups and the Magician. So very contrasting energies here. And I do have to say, I've been mentioning in the other readings, this card in particular has been popping up a lot this month. And I think that really is primarily to do with the fact that we are going to have that full moon eclipse in your sign, because this is a card that represents the last 10 degrees of Cancer. So I think this is actually a good example of what's going to be happening for people on a collective with that transit, because we're going to have that full moon, and then we're also going to have Pluto and Saturn conjunct in your opposite sign. So I think for a lot of people, it's going to be that shift in realizing that, okay, things might not be where I want them to be, right? But how have I been complicit in that being the case, right? Because this is an energy right here where we see the person isn't really taking action, right? They don't look like they're happy with what they're getting. There's a bunch of cups in front of them. There's another one headed toward them, right? It looks like they're clearly not pleased if we look at their body language, but at the same time, well, what are they doing about the situation, right? Are they communicating that it's not what they want? Are they getting up to go after what they do want, right? No, not really. They're just kind of sitting there. And then the Magician energy is a huge contrast to that. So for some of you, it might even just be a realization that you have when you have that full moon eclipse that says to you, you know what? I can sit here and be in this unhappy energy, but the fact of the matter is, this is just something that'll keep replaying itself unless I take action, so that could just be where you have like that epiphany. And maybe some of you even had it when we had the full moon in Gemini, because that's your 12th house. So maybe that might have helped bring some light into maybe how you might get in your own way to a certain extent in some situations. So that's what I'm seeing here primarily as being the shift, between, okay, I could just, let things keep coming to me and knowing that they're not really going to fulfill my needs, or I could actually take that action towards manifesting it. So that could be what's at play there. Near future position, we have the Three of Wands. So this is more Aries energy. So you guys have a lot of Aries energy, which, like I said, for me, primarily is, well, it could be a two-level thing, because Aries is the natural ruler of the first house. So this could just be pointing to the fact that there's going to be a lot of energy focused on you this month, because, again, we're going to have that full moon eclipse in your sign. But for a lot of you, I really do think this is regarding career as well. So really what this could be is, again, maybe you just had a lot of anxiety and really were doubting yourself as far as putting yourself out there, right? And like I said, maybe applying for jobs because you might have talked yourself out of it, like, oh, I don't have the experience, right? No one's going to really even give me a call, right? No one's going to call me in for an interview. So then you get to that energy that we talked about in the present here, and then the near future could just be as simple as saying that it does show that you actually did take the action, right, of putting yourself out there, resumes, whatever the case may be. And now this is you waiting for some calls to come in, basically, because this is referred to as the waiting for your ships to come in energy. So this could just be as simple as maybe you applied for 3 jobs, for example, and you're like, all right, let me see if I get any calls back for them, right? And I do have to say, though, just given the artwork here too, this could also be emphasizing again that maybe the offer that you would actually want is just at a great distance from where you currently live, so that could be where there's a bit of difficulty. All right, and your energy toward the situation, we have the Three of Cups. So this is more Cancer energy, and I see this a few different ways. For one, this usually points to me that with connecting with people that you've known for a long time. So it could be siblings, maybe friends that you've had from childhood, right? But it's definitely like it represents to me those long-standing connections. And then for some of you, this could just be as simple as a celebratory thing, which, if that's the case, that would lead you to believe that you would have some success, right? So if you did put yourself out there, this would lead me to believe that maybe you guys do get some kind of positive news regarding those jobs you've applied for. That could be what's at play there. Another way this could be playing out too, though, is maybe some of you decide, maybe you do get a new job, but maybe you don't take the one, quote unquote, the best one because it's at a distance, right? Because this could also be pointing to you wanting to stay where your roots already are. So, that's a couple of different ways that it could be playing out, but that's what I see there. Either way, this looks like you'd be pretty happy with the decision. So that's pretty positive there. In the environment position, we have the Lovers. So this is the major arcana card for Gemini. And again, like I said, this could be another indicator that maybe when we had that full moon in Gemini, maybe that was what helped you realize that you needed to make the shift, right? Sometimes this can point to a love relationship, and to be perfectly honest with you, to this point, I haven't really seen a lot of romantic vibe. This is really the only thing that would kind of indicate that. So maybe it's even as simple as that. It's one of those things where you get one area of your life together, right? And then other areas of your life might start to come online as well. So that could be one of those situations where, maybe you get the job thing settled, and now maybe the next thing you know, all of a sudden there's a potential for a new love relationship, right? Maybe even someone that you meet in the workplace, quite frankly. But yeah, that's what could be at play there. For others of you, this could just say that maybe there's just new connections coming in your life in general, which are beneficial. And that could be the case because we have Jupiter recently moved into your opposite sign. And actually, right when I'm recording this, it's actually trine Uranus, which is in Taurus, and that's your 11th house. So that could just represent that some supportive new partnerships and friendships that you might be making. So that could be what's at play there. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Ace of Cups. So I do have to say, with this card following up, right after the Lovers, this can say that for some of you, you are actually hoping to get a love relationship off the ground. What I always point out to people with the aces versus the page energies is the ace energies always have that hand coming out of the cloud, it looks like, holding whatever suit the card represents. Whereas the page energy, like we see with this one here, instead of it just being that hand out of the cloud, it's actually the person holding whatever the item is, the cup, in this case the wand. So the way I see those energies is the ace usually represents something that's just in the idea stage, whereas the page is actually physically making that presentation. So this could just be saying that, again, maybe this is just what's on your mind, right? Like I said, maybe the career thing has been such a stressor for you, and maybe that starts to clear, you get some improvement there, and now, okay, now that you have that area locked down, now your focus might shift more toward love, right? So that could be what these two cards are pointing to. And then at the bottom of the deck, too, before I forget to mention it, we do have the Nine of Cups. It's often referred to as the wish card, but a lot of times what I see this as is someone, knowing their worth and, knowing what they bring to the table is the way I usually say it, just based off the artwork. And, realizing that you're close, right? So knowing your worth, again, like I was saying, maybe you guys are getting a confidence boost this month, maybe even feeling a bit down lately. And that's starting to change for you guys, but pretty good card to have at the bottom there. And underneath that, we actually have the Queen of Cups. So this is actually the core card for your sign. So pretty positive indicators there. And then in the outcome position, we have Death. So this is actually the major arcana card for Scorpio. And for you guys, that's your 5th house. So even though people hear the deft, the word deft and look at the artwork, it might seem a little intimidating, but I don't actually see this as a negative thing at all. For you guys, given that this is your fifth house again, maybe it's actually that completion of a cycle, right, where you start to get that recognition. Because here's, for example, Leo energy, which is the natural ruler of the fifth house, and the horse is in reverse, right? Seems like there's no recognition. So for some of you, this is maybe even be playing out a few different ways, where for some of you, this could represent you not necessarily caring what people around you may think, right? As far as having that confidence, like, you know what, I don't need to run an idea past 20 people before I make a decision, right? You say, I'm going to do what's best for me. That could be one way it's playing out. Purpose, this could just represent a shift for you guys in that area, which could represent, your creative projects, maybe even new love connections. So, like I said, maybe for those of you, if you have been single for a while, maybe this is going to be a new love relationship that comes along for you. And then we do have the fact as well that if we look at your eighth house, which is Aquarius, is actually going to be a lot of energy moving into that sign through the month of January. So that could be what helps bring that transformation for you guys as well. Maybe even during the time of the new moon, towards the end of the month, maybe that's when you feel that shift. All right, moving on to the oracle cards. First one we have is To Be Fair. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 38. Okay, it says balance, justice, a need to consider options, mutual benefit, the law of cause and effect. The oracle's message: life offers experiences that are challenging and experiences that are nourishing, yet over time they strike a balance. You move from being, from stasis, to doing, from discovering, to loving, to letting go, to being again. Life is a pendulum swinging between all of these states. You will always oscillate back and forth between doing and being. If you are not content with where you are at this moment, remember that all experiences have their place. Accept them without judgment, and you will see how the universe adjusts in perfect balance. You reap what you sow. For every cause there is an effect. Wondrous things will be revealed now. So that message there reminds me of what I was saying, where it looks like there's some kind of shift for you guys, or maybe you're lacking a little bit of confidence, right? Maybe feeling like you're not experienced enough for certain things. And then, like I said, this point here, that Four of Cups with the Magician, seems to be some kind of a shift for you guys, where that perspective changes, and then maybe that's what brings that forward movement for you guys. And like I said, if that's the case, that could definitely be pointing to the time around that full moon in your sign. All right, the relationship message says, can you find a way to achieve fairness right now? This is a time for listening as well as speaking, for understanding as well as being understood. There is much to be learned, and you will learn it if you remain open and objective, weighing all options and considering all sides. Your heart wants to connect to others, so allow for a balanced exchange of ideas and actions. The best kind of relationship is one in which there is mutual benefit, and each party feels heard, valued, and respected. Be fair to all. So that's an interesting message there, because if you think about it, that does in a way describe the Gemini energy, right? It's a very communicative energy, right? Almost a bit playful. So maybe that is the type of connection that you're trying to bring into your life at this time, right? So that could be what's going on there. Then the prosperity message says, now is a time for even exchanges. Justice will prevail, and you will be treated accordingly. In all your affairs, you will be able to negotiate fair settlements. Mutual gain is the gift to you and your partners and colleagues. This is also a good time to square your finances and take stock of how you're compensated for your work. This card signifies balance, justice, and negotiations, so remember that all things must be fairly recompensed. Keep this as your truth, and so it will be. So definitely an interesting message there, because that was what I was feeling as well, where where it was talking about looking at basically, are you being compensated correctly? And like I was saying, maybe that's what was going on here with that. Two of Wands, especially given the fact that he was looking at that Emperor. Like I said, maybe you feel like there's a boss that you can't quite trust, that they're very my way to highway, right? They're not very collaborative, maybe a bit secretive. And then maybe that's what leads you to see. Like I said, it could be as simple as you just want to see what's out there, right? Like I said, maybe you're doubtful that you're being compensated correctly, but maybe you just even want to explore as opposed to actually making the change in your career. Maybe you just want to say, all right, well, let me see whatever jobs are out there, right? To see if you truly are being compensated correctly, or maybe if you are being undervalued. All right. And next we have Moth Spirit. It says, surrender now. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 39. Okay, it says, Moth Spirit asks, what is guiding you right now? Are you in alignment with Spirit, or pursuing something or someone with so much tenacity that it has become a compulsion or addiction? Are you so intoxicated by a potential relationship or opportunity that you can't think straight? Hard work and dedication are virtues, and love, of course, is a beautiful thing. However, when Moth Spirit appears, it is time to consider if you have gone over the edge in a relentless pursuit. Workaholism, overeating, perfectionism, or addiction to certainty or even to a person may be your current vice. The form of your addiction does not matter so much as awareness of the consequences of remaining persistent when moderation is needed. Let go of your excessive energy by channeling it in more than one direction. The fire burns hot, and you do not want to be engulfed by your passion to the exclusion of all the other pursuits that matter to you. Now is the time to surrender and radical acceptance so that your drive does not cause you to flee or fight. Spirit wants you to release your need for certainty and control so that you can relax into a more balanced way of using your Moth Spirit energy. Banish the shoulds and must so that you can enjoy what is as you allow for what might be. Interesting there, and maybe in a weird way that can be what's going on for some of you, where maybe that's why there is so much energy, Aries energy on the board, which is 10th house for you guys. Maybe it's saying that you are just obsessive about that area of your life, and maybe it's actually leading to a lack of fulfillment in other areas, right? So that could be what's at play for some of you. I mean, personally, I wasn't picking up on that vibe as heavily when I was going through the main spread, but hopefully that does resonate at least for some of you if you do find yourselves in that boat. All right, and then the last thing we have is the Mudra card. So the Mudra that you guys got for this month is the Mudgara Mudra. There it is right there. The keyword for it is loyalty. And there's some info on it if you wanted to pause it or take a screenshot to see what it has to say. But it says increases courage, virtue, and loyalty, stimulates the immune system, activates the body's self-healing power, and, according to the yoga tradition, facilitates the healing of major diseases such as cancer. So that sounds like something you think would be beneficial to you guys. I will put the name of the mudra in the description as always. And actually, before I forget, I should mention that Mars will be moving actually into your 6th house. So that could be more of a focus for you guys as well, just your health in general, when it was talking about the self-healing power. And then also that could be why you might be focusing on work a lot more as well. Whereas you've had Mars in your 5th house, now it'll be moving into your 6th house of work and daily routines. So that could be what we're seeing with these energies as well. All right, so we'll wrap up there, guys. Happy New Year, and I'll talk to you all next month. All right, bye.